Hello, everybody. This is the vocabulary lesson for week 7, which starts on April 27th. We're going to start by looking at the words in our vocabulary. The first one is accompanies. Jake's dog accompanies him on car rides. If you can tell in the picture, you can see that the dog and the boy are together in the car. So when you accompany somebody, you go with them. Our second word is campaign. The woman signed up to work on Mr. Baker's campaign for the state senate. So if you help with a campaign, you are trying to help get somebody elected. We'll see in the next year some more campaign efforts as we're coming up to a next presidential election. You may send out flyers, you may go door to door, you may give speeches and talk about why you think your candidate is the best candidate. Governor. The governor spoke at a town hall meeting about the state budget. The governor, as you learned in 3rd grade, is the leader of the state. Ohio's governor is Governor DeWine. And right now, you can see him daily on the news talking about what's going on with the pandemic. So he is not only in charge of the budget, but he's also in charge of keeping the people in Ohio, or if it's a different state, his state, safe. So the governor is in charge of all things within the state. Intend. Does the mouse intend to eat the grape? So when we look at the picture, you can see that the mouse is trying to take the grape. To intend to do something means that you plan on doing it. Opponent. Laylee and her brother beat the online opponent they were playing against in the video game. So your opponent is the person you're playing against. Your next word is overwhelming. The number of books that Todd had to carry was overwhelming. So if we look at the number of books in his hand, we can see that that is a lot of books. That is more than what a normal person would probably carry. So it's too much. We can be overwhelmed in carrying something. We can be overwhelmed in having to do something. Some of you have commented that when we first started online, you were a bit overwhelmed, but I'm hoping that everybody is getting a little bit more used to the process now. Your next word is tolerate. Polar bears can tolerate extremely cold water. So if we look at the picture, you can see the polar bear in the water next to the ice floe. Human beings could not tolerate the extremely cold water. We wouldn't live very long if we were in the water. But a polar bear's body is built differently, and it has a seal on its skin that protects it from the cold water, so it's able to tolerate or be able to swim in the cold water. Your next word is weary. The firefighter was weary and needed to rest after fighting a fire for 10 hours. Now we have some context clues here. He's been fighting a fire for 10 hours. He needs to rest. When you look at the picture, he looks really worn out. So if you are weary, that means you're exhausted. You're really tired. You just need to sleep. And that brings us back to the beginning. Okay, as always, we want to look at one more thing before I let you go. And let's try and put some of these vocabulary into use. And here we go. All right, our first one has to do with campaign. List 2 things a politician might do during his or her campaign. So right now we have people running for president. What are some things that we may have seen them do? Okay. One thing that I have seen is they might make a speech on TV. And another thing I've seen is we've been getting letters in the mail or postcards saying why somebody might be a better candidate than somebody else. So I'm going to say they might make a speech on TV and they might send out letters explaining what they stand for, which means believe in. The best way to know what the best candidate is to find out if you agree with the things that they believe in. Governor. Underline the base word in governor. Circle the suffix or. Okay, so I'm feeling in this mood today, so we're going to go with this purpley color. The root word is govern. The suffix is or. So what does governor mean? The governor is a person who governs the state. Who governs or makes sure the laws are followed in his or her state. Intend. List 2 things you intend to do after school. Well, I don't know about you guys, but when I come home, one of my first priorities is a snack. So I intend or plan to have a snack and play outside. Number 4, act out how you feel when you are weary. Use your body and your face. Well, you can't see me right now, which is okay, but I'll bet you can figure it out by the sounds I'm making. If I'm weary, I'd be maybe my eyes are closed and I'm kind of dragging and I just don't want to get up and I don't want to do anything. So I want you to act that out in your house. Describe something that you cannot tolerate. So I'm going to put this back up. Tolerate. Remember, tolerate, it means something that you can stand or you can handle. One thing that I cannot tolerate is lying. I would much rather somebody tell me the truth, even if it isn't a great thing, than lie to me about it. So I cannot tolerate lying. Sorry, even Mrs. Mack makes a little mistake every once in a while. There we go. Something that I cannot stand. Opponent. Name a game in which you usually beat your opponent, the person that you're playing against. Okay. My mom and I play Words with Friends on my phone, and I'm very proud to say that I tend to beat her more than she beats me. So I like that. Overwhelming. Read the synonyms for overwhelming. Add another synonym to the list. Overwhelming can mean vast, overpowering, or I want you to think for a second before I write these in for you. What could be another synonym for overwhelming? Okay. Overwhelming can also mean enormous. Okay, if it's overwhelming, it's vast, it's overpowering, there's too much to do, it's an enormous load of work, so you feel overpowered or overwhelmed by it. Okay, remember, no making fun of my drawing. Draw somebody who accompanies you when you go to a movie. Okay. Now, I don't have brown and black to draw with, so my person is going to be rainbow colored. So I'm going to draw my person. And when I go to the movies, I usually go with Mr. Mac, and we get to watch a movie together. And he's happier than my smile makes him look. Okay, so accompany means to go with. I don't like to go sit through a movie by myself. I like to take somebody with me to go. All right, boys and girls, the last thing I want to look at is this idiom, because idioms can be a little confusing, and I know you're talking about this week as well. An idiom is an expression whose meaning cannot be understood from the separate words in it. Circle the idioms in the passage. Matt plays with his new yo-yo. He knows that practice makes perfect. But Matt cannot get the hang of it. So we're going to circle get the hang of it. And we know that it means that if you get the hang of something, that means you learn how to do it and it becomes easy for you. Matt's brother tells him you can do it. It's a piece of cake. Now, boys and girls, a real piece of cake doesn't have much to do with learning how to use a yo-yo. But it's a piece of cake can also mean that it's very easy. It's not hard to cut a piece of cake. Matt is fed up with the yo-yo. He tries one more time. Out of the blue, he makes the yo-yo work. So out of the blue, that means just by chance. He didn't realize he could do it. It just happened accidentally. He made the yo-yo work. Matt spends the next 2 hours playing with it. Time flies when you are having fun. There's one more idiom in this story. I want you to see if you can find it and tell it to your adult. Or if you don't have one someone near to talk to, you know how to reach your teachers and you can call or text them to see if you're right. I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy. We miss you, and I hope you have a great week.